We usually think of chronic worry as a natural reaction to our problems, but it's actually an active, deliberate psychological defense mechanism. Take a recent group therapy presentation given by a man named David. Before presenting his messy, personal worries to the group, David ran them through an AI to rewrite them into polished, philosophical statements. The motive here is a common trap. If you can elevate a personal failing into a universal human condition, it becomes abstract. It can no longer embarrass you. But the group's facilitator caught the dodge immediately. The intellectual polish failed the program's basic honesty test because, as the facilitator pointed out, the armor itself was the tell. David only passed when he dropped the sophisticated scaffolding entirely. He looked at the group and admitted the raw truth. He simply worries too much. Over-intellectualizing our problems is often just a highly sophisticated way of lying to ourselves about our real, uncomfortable responsibilities. This brings us to another dodge, operating right alongside worry. We treat guilt like accountability, but mathematically it achieves the opposite. Guilt acts as a behavioral Ponzi scheme. Feeling bad only services the interest on mistakes, while the principal balance goes entirely untouched. Because you've already paid through emotional suffering, this trick grants subconscious permission to repeat the toxic behavior. If both guilt and worry are merely forms of dishonest self-protection, breaking the cycle requires abandoning our feelings in favor of a harsh, quantifiable reality check. This brings us to a specific therapy framework. As this session note shows, the method strips away these defense mechanisms by forcing you to assign a hard mathematical percentage to the control you have over a situation. This exposes what facilitators call the control dodge. When facing a difficult external situation, like an addicted family member, our instinct is to claim we have exactly 0% control, which conveniently relieves us of the burden of trying. The facilitator in David's group shared his own experience with this dodge. He told his peers he had 0% control over his addicted brother. That claim was a lie, designed to hide the uncomfortable reality that he did possess a tiny, demanding amount of influence. His true percentage of control was about 15%. That control didn't mean fixing his brother. It meant offering a temporary safe house, providing a meal, or giving a clear nudge toward rehab. Claiming exactly 0% control is almost always a hiding place. True honesty demands finding and accepting the burden of your actual limited percentage of influence. Once you identify your real slice of control, you face the ultimate honesty test. Are you genuinely putting 100% of your effort into that specific, limited slice? To see how this works, we have to look at the opposite extreme, situations where control truly is absent. Think of a car losing traction on black ice, a scenario that perfectly illustrates the concept of effortless action, or wu wei. In a chaotic slide, the driver's panic mimics our anxious worry. If you aggressively oversteer to fight the slide, physics dictates a violent crash. The counterintuitive survival tactic is to take your hands completely off the wheel. Doing this allows physics to naturally align the tires. A deliberate no decision becomes the highest form of active effort. Whether you are maxing out your effort on a 15% slice of influence or making an active choice to let go of the wheel entirely, true effort is about aligning with reality rather than fighting it. This creates a closed logic loop. If you have honestly defined your percentage of control and honestly committed 100% of your effort to it, you arrive at a final question. If your effort is maxed out on the controllable slice, what is left to worry with? At this point, worry loses its justification. The uncontrollable remainder is simply an extra emotional tax, and you can refuse to pay it. When you stop dedicating your bandwidth to this unnecessary tax, your life enters a new state. You suddenly have newly freed time and energy. To prove this shift is real, the program forces a literal hour-by-hour accounting of your week, called the 168-hour reality check. In these handwritten notes, you track exactly where your time goes across 15 different activities. This leads into an assets versus liabilities inventory. Honesty isn't a fleeting emotion. It's a cold ledger of physical actions that feed your recovery or drain it. You are not the sum of your mistakes. By dropping the intellectual armor, naming your true influence, and doing the hard work on the sliver you control, honesty ceases to be a confession and becomes the mechanism that sets you free.